Well, that was a lot. Wuthering Heights is a brand new gothic drama from director Emerald Fennell starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. And going into this film, I knew absolutely nothing. I had some sort of vague idea that it was just going to be another romantic film. It was starring Jacob Elordi, who I absolutely love, and it was also starring Margot Robbie, who I also love. It's just in time for Valentine's Day, and I did know that this is a very famous story. It seems like there's a pretty big fan base for it. The thing that I didn't really have a grasp on is just how romantic this movie is. And if you know the story, which I do now, you know what I'm talking about. It definitely goes there at times. And so where I walked in maybe expecting more of a Pride and Prejudice type thing, what I got was this insanely unique vibe of a film. And so what is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome to Jones Vibes. Today I am reviewing Wuthering Heights. I do want to let you know this will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about anything. I'm not going to ruin the movie for you. As always, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments. I always appreciate your opinion. And without further ado, let's talk Wuthering Heights. The synopsis reads, tragedy strikes when Heathcliff falls in love with Catherine Earnshaw, a woman from a wealthy family in 18th century England. And that's really about all that you need to know with this film. It starts directly there with these young kids. You have Heathcliff, this young boy who's kind of been cast out and taken in by this family. And then you have this other young Catherine. They basically become friends pretty quickly, and the love story develops from there. But it is an insanely tragic and heartbreaking love story. Having not read the novel, I never could have expected where it was gonna go. But just my initial thoughts walking out of the theater, I was much more emotional than I ever would have expected. There's the side of the audience in a film like this, and I don't mean to poke fun, but there really is the half of the theater here that was just swooning at either Jacob Elordi or Margot Robbie. That's a big draw for this, but what captured me was just how good of a film it was and how good of a story it is. And I shouldn't be surprised, this story has lived on for well over 100 years, but it was captured in such an artistic, moody, I think gothic is a good way to put it, vibe in this film that you don't forget it. And when you walk out of the theater, it kind of leaves and lingers with you because you sort of just feel like you're in a mood now. And I want to talk about a lot of that. First, I want to break down this cast because there are more people in this movie than just the main stars. We need to talk about them. But first, I want to give some flowers to the young kids in this film. So basically, you walk through their lives. You have them as kids. You have them as, like, I think maybe in the novel they were supposed to be teens, but they're clearly not teens, maybe 20s, 30s. I don't really know what they were going for. And then you get them as adults. But the two kids in this film, you have the young kid from adolescence, who he's having just a moment right now. But really, some of the moments that he has, Owen Cooper is this young kid. He plays young Heathcliff. He was phenomenal, dude. He was outstanding. And same with the young girl who plays young Kathy. Her name is Charlotte Mellington. Their chemistry was through the roof, and it takes a great director to bring those types of performances out of kids. But gosh, dude, like, I'd be excited to see other people maybe give them some of the praise that they deserve because they're only in the movie for, I don't know, less than 20 minutes. But for the time that they were on screen, I thought it was great. I also do want to shout out Chau. She plays Nellie, and she has a really big role in this film. She's the servant to Kathy, but as you see in this movie, there's kind of a whole game of chess being played. So each character has their role to play, and I thought what she did with her time was great as well. But really, when it comes down to it, there are a lot of other great actors in this movie, a lot of other great performances, but what Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi managed to pull off in this is something that you don't see very often. For some reason, the first thing that's popping in my head is Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling in La La Land. Those moments where you can just see and feel the chemistry. You can feel the love just coming through the screen, and you don't really know where it's coming from. You don't really know what's happening, but you know that it's something special. I think that Margot Robbie is a phenomenal actress in her own right, and everybody kind of knows that at this point, but to see her take on this role, again, it's sort of a cliche romantic thing. Oh, the two hot people are making a movie together, but when you see what they have to go through in this film, the moments, the close-up on her face, the things that she can do as an actress, it's outstanding, man. And I would say the same thing about Jacob Elordi. Obviously, he's having his Frankenstein time right now, you know? He was so great in that film, but watching him obviously not be in a big prosthetic suit and take on and just body this role, the emotion that he has to convey, again, the close-ups, the tearing up, the crying, the love, and the romantic things, it's a lot. It's a lot for actors to pull off, and they absolutely did. But this film doesn't come without its faults. faults for me, and so I want to talk about the good, and then I'm going to talk about the bad. I want to start with the good because something that some people might not point out, because this film is going to have a lot of hype on the romantic side of things, but it's the cinematography. This movie is beautifully shot. The director of photography was Linus Sandgren, and I'd never heard of them before this movie, but what impressed me the most was just how much it felt like it was being poured out from a book, poured out from a story, but it didn't feel like an actual version of the 1800s. They really nailed a certain aesthetic where it felt like a strange, fictionalized version of the 1800s that, again, was just so moody. Every single shot just felt deep. It felt epic. You're only dealing with a couple different sets in this movie. You're just going kind of back and forth from place to place. But what they managed to do with that, it's incredible. There are a couple shots of Jacob Elordi on a horse alone that the backdrop is just like red sunlight, and I don't know how they got that. I don't know whose mind all of this was coming from, but it was really well done. I would also shout out the music. The music is done by Anthony Willis, and it is beautiful. It's heartbreaking at times. Also, Charlie XCW, is that her name? I don't even know. Forgive me, Charlie XCX, who I've kind of briefly heard about this girl, but she has some original songs in this movie. One of them is sort of a TikTok famous song, but it blares at the beginning of this movie and kind of sets the tone. It was really, really cool. But the thing that I loved the most about this film, and I sort of already touched on it, but was their ability to convey romance as being more than just something you're looking at. It's more than that. It's a feeling, and there are several moments that you just got the feeling like the director understood. You know what I mean? She understood the assignment, and when you have like Margot Robbie walking up this foggy hill and the fog clears, and then you have Jacob Elordi standing there and he's got like this dope outfit on and the music is pumping. It's just this energy that you don't get anywhere else aside from a movie theater and watching something like this. It was passionate, it was really emotional, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I absolutely did. Coinciding with the romantic moments, there's also the heartbreaking moments, and I would say they gave those 110%. It's a lot to handle and it's a lot to walk away with, but it's a hell of a journey. But moving on to the bad, I would say, there's nothing like too much to nitpick about with this film. I thought it was really well done, and it is an adaptation. So at the end of the day, if you don't know the source material, you might not know why things are in the movie, but there is a certain chunk in this film getting towards the third act, maybe kind of like in between the second and third act, where the movie it just takes a turn. And for me, it sort of just loses the plot for a minute, and it started to become something that it hadn't been. Like, there are funny moments in this film, but it starts to lean a little bit too much into the comedy area, where I was like, wait, is this a drama? Like, is this still a romantic drama, or what are we going for here? But it does manage to come back from that. I think my critique would be, I just don't think that chunk needed to be in the film. It is a long movie. Like, it's rather long, 2 hours and something, 2 hours and 12 minutes. And so whereas the pacing was actually pretty great throughout the entire thing, there are just a couple scenes that I didn't feel like needed to be there and maybe would have made it move a little bit smoother. But the other two qualms I have with this film are purely subjective, so it's not really even a nitpick of the film itself. It's just how you feel about the things happening in this film morally. Like, morally with the main character, with Kathy, with Margot Robbie, there are things that are happening in this film involving marriage. There are certain decisions that she makes, and you, as the viewer, you have to kind of decide whether she's a good person or not. It definitely challenged me as a viewer, because you have this sweeping, epic love story going on, but there's also kind of this other thing going on that, for me, it challenged me a little bit, and I don't know whether I was disappointed in the main character or not. Like, I left conflicted, but a good movie does that, and so I'm not terribly torn about that. The other thing is just, how comfortable are you watching this kind of stuff take place? It made me pretty uncomfortable at times, and I don't know if that takes away the rewatchability for me. I honestly don't think it does, because everything else was so freaking amazing. Again, the cinematography and the look and the vibe of this movie alone are enough to warrant a repeat viewing or going back to the theater to watch it. So the stuff that might make you a little bit uncomfortable, the fingers in the mouth and stuff, that's stuff that you can get over. And then the morality of it, all of that stuff, again, those are questions. Those are good questions to have within your film. And so, all in all, I am very happy and, dare I say, satisfied with this movie. I do have one last thing that I want to say. I feel like men out there, if you have a girlfriend or a wife or anybody that's asking you to go to this movie and you think it's just going to be like a romantic blah 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 type film, go give it a shot. Like, go check it out. You might walk out of this movie feeling some type of way. It might give you something instead of taking away from you. You know what I mean? It might not be a waste of your time. I would also say the same thing to just audiences out there. I know this film is being marketed a certain way, but I think word of mouth will help this movie tremendously. So if you go see this movie and you enjoy this movie, tell people about this movie. Tell people to go see this movie, because I do feel like it deserves as many eyeballs as possible. But as always, I do want to give my Jones Vibe star rating. I go out of 5 stars here, and my friends, I'm giving Wuthering Heights 4 out of 5 stars, and I got no doubt about that. But if you end up seeing this movie, please go down in the comments section. Let me know what you thought. Did you have any of the same likes or dislikes about the movie as I did? Did it make you feel uncomfortable? Did it make you feel weirdly comfortable? Go ahead and let me know. Your opinion is always welcome around here. Also, my friends, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're new around here, I do reactions, reviews, you name it. I just like to have a good time here on Jones Vibes. But more than anything, I hope that you're out there keeping up the good vibes, and I will see you in the next video, all right? Peace!